All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Breakout Sessions. This is the Awesome Admin Track. My name is Eric Dreschfield. I'm the Advocacy Manager here at Apttus. And we want to welcome you here. Today we have John Graf, Salesforce MVP, Business Process Director for World Waterworks, one of our ex-author customers, is about to talk to you about how you can do things with clicks instead of code. So John, take it away.
Thank you, my good friend Eric. Thank you so much. Hi guys, how's it going? I know that these headphones kind of drive some people crazy. It's hard for you to focus. So for a sense of levity, I'm gonna try to draw your focus up here for a second. I like to give back a little bit to the community as much as I can. Red Nose Day is coming up. I believe it's tomorrow. If you guys haven't heard about it, you should look up into rednoseday.org. It's kind of hard to speak with these things. Let me ask real quick, is there anybody here who has built an ex-author application yet? Anybody at all? Congratulations, sir. You're going to help some kids. My next question is, because this has happened to me so often, it's insane. Has anybody had dreams about Process Builder or formulas? All right, way over here, I see it. What a throw. I'm left-handed. What was I thinking? Oh my goodness. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's get started. I only have half an hour. I'm going to try to build an application for you guys in X-Author to show you how easy it is. Real quick, who am I is the real question. Like he said, I'm John Graf, World Waterworks Business Process Director. I'd like to say that my bosses have given me the freedom to go and develop my own personal skills, not only in the Salesforce platform, but on X-Author as well. And I'd like to ask all of you executives, all of you management out there that have system administrators that work for you, to please give them the same freedom, because the return on investment has been amazing. We've been able to completely revolutionize how our office manages their workload through Salesforce and X-Author. And I'll show you one of those applications today as well. Also, I want to note that I am a podcaster. I'm a co-host of the NerdForce podcast. My co-host, Nana Gregg, is here with us today. She's going to be speaking tomorrow, so you get a chance to come and see her as well. We just try to encourage the good Ohana, friendly, spirited community that there is out there amongst everybody in the community. Now, what is X-Author? If you haven't heard yet, or if you haven't seen any of the demonstrations, it's a very basic idea. It's going to take data from Salesforce, pull it down into your Excel template, allow you to manipulate that data like you would in Excel, and then push it right back up into Salesforce. Once you do all that and then add in all the extra functionality like macros, you can start to really make some big magic with X-Author. Excuse me. So whenever you're building, who are you building for, right? That's not with just with this, but with any application you're building for people. There we go, Molly Brown. Who are we building it for? Today we're building for Stacy. Hi, Stacy. Stacy is the heart of the accounting department. She does the most amount of things, which I always laugh because they're like, oh, well, let's just give this to Stacy. She's not doing anything. And they keep doing that, and she keeps saying yes, and she takes it on. So I'm going to help Stacy out. She collects, one of the things she does is she collects all the invoices that we receive for payment. Well, no, she collects all of the invoices that we receive for payment, right? Huge workload, big stack of hard copies she has sitting on her desk. And then what does she do? She matches those to purchase orders in Salesforce. She pulls up a record, looks at it, makes sure everything looks right. Then she goes over and creates an account payable object and account payable lines underneath that object. This is starting to sound familiar to a lot of you guys, right? And then the toughest part about this is she matches that account payable and those account payable lines to all these other objects, and it really, really starts to draw out some of the workload, every single one that she does, all right? So just for a quick visual, because I love being visual on this, that's purchase order as an object, account payable as an object, and account payable lines are an object, all right? Now, let's look a little bit more deeper into these pieces of the puzzle. We have the invoice that she receives, and then she's going to pull up that purchase order. And note, I put down here, she's going to search for a PO, and then she's going to display that PO. That's very important to think about while you're trying to prepare and build your X-Author application. X-App is what I'll call it from this point on. And then she's going to create an AP and AP lines, or save AP and AP lines, and she's going to connect that purchase order to the account payable. She's going to find the account from the PO and match it to the account payable. She's going to find the project from the purchase order and match it to the account payable line specifically. Also, she's going to pull up a GL account for our journal entries, and she's going to match that to the account payable line. Note, we're going to have to search for that GL account. Oh, also, there's a couple fields on the purchase order that she also needs to update, so we need to be able to save a couple fields back to that purchase order, okay? Keeping that in mind, let's get dirty. Just like IT, they have to show up and then it works fine, right? How many times have I had to do that? I have a template that I keep in a file on my computer, and it looks basically like this without the information, because this is what I use to collect requirements for my users. Very quickly, I give it a name. I try to use the same naming format like we all should be. I look at the user, it's Stacy, but I noted also here it's accounting because that's her profile. That's how I'm going to assign the XApp to her later. A quick description, in this case it's very quick, it's just a quick entry of the account payable. And any concerns, if I were to type in concerns, I would write that there are multiple lookups that I need to be considering whenever I'm building this, as well as the objects I'm going to use, and here I'd probably type in the fields that are important for me to make sure to include. And then down here, it's basically my journal. What I like about this is then I can start this as my template and then hide the tab later, so whenever it's saved, they'll never see it, but if I need to come back to it, I can come and look at my notes and see where I'm at. Now, what I've done here, and you see I did a little bit of pre-work here. I built up what the template's going to look like. I laid out where I think my fields are going to be. Notice I boxed in everything on the purchase order here on the right. That's everything that she's going to see to pull this in, or from your guys' view over here. And then she's going to build an account payable right here and draw account payable lines here. Everything from H over, I'm going to hide. Because that's where I put a lot of my Salesforce IDs, and those 15 number codes mean nothing to my users, and they mean nothing to your users. They don't need to see them, it just confuses them. All right, let's see here. I do put in, usually when I'm writing, what save map or display map I'm going to be wanting to use. So I think this is going to be on my save map for account payable. This is going to be my display map for purchase order. And I also write my formulas out ahead of time just to make sure everything looks nice and pretty. I've color-coded them just for your case so you can kind of see what's going on, and if you like, you can look at some of the formulas. I use the if statements, and this is a common one for me. If F5 equals blank, then blank. Otherwise, give it F7 just because it doesn't return a 0. It comes in really handy. This is a new one that I've come across over the last month or so, and it comes in really handy as well because sometimes they have to stop what they're doing. Something looks weird. I need to go pull this up in Salesforce. So using the hyperlink formula, you can pull in the HTTPS with the NA number on there, and then use the ID number, K4, and then I'm also going to give it the name, say link to Salesforce, whatever it's going to say right here in the purchase order number, and we'll see that here in a moment. Let's start building some things. Well, always you're going to start from left to right on these buttons up here on the developer. Salesforce objects, it's going to take a second, but it's going to go and pull up every object and allows you to select all the fields that you want to be able to query. Anything you want to look into, and you can see my GL account is here, my account payable, I've got all these fields that I'm going to be referencing. I'm not going to play with those. I got some of this stuff ready because I know that our time is important here. I also built a display map already, but let me show you real quick. It's really simple. You pull this display map, you're going to create one. I name them. I use the same naming structure, and this is important because you're going to have a display map, then you're going to have an action, and then you're going to have an action flow that calls out those. And if you're always using the same names, it's always going to be very clear. D dash means display. You're going to see S dash for save, or SS for search and select. It comes in really handy like this. So it's really a drag and drop. That's all you're doing for your purchase order. You can see here I've already identified and brought out all my fields, which are all of these blue DPO. What I like about this, you click on it and it highlights where it is right here on the box, so you can see where it's at. And if you're not sure if your field's already been pulled into a map somewhere, you can tell by looking at the name range, and if it's got one of these funky name ranges, that means that it's assigned to at least a map, if not any one particular. All right, so let me close this. Save maps. I've also created the account payable save map and the PO save map, which is basically just I identified the fields that on the PO that I want to save back and allow Stacy to edit and push information back on. I also created the save AP map, and I'll edit this one. You can see it looks exactly the same as the display map. Well, mostly you got a little bit of change here. But I want to show you how to build the account payable line because this is one where it gets a little bit tricky. We're going to create a new one. So again, it's the save maps, S-AP lines. We're going to look into some other fields where you want to be able to make multiple records here. Each line is a new record, right? So I want to make a list which identifies my account payable line. And you can see here all my fields are already labeled. So whenever I drop this in, if I didn't have amount in that field directly above it, it would say amount because it brings it in as a label for the field that you just added. This is a yellow field, which means it's a formula. And if you notice the formula, it is if B21 is blank, then blank, otherwise F8, because I want her to be able to add multiple lines as she's going down and quickly keying things in. So it looks at the very first field. So if she types in any amount on that first line, it's going to populate the project. It's also going to populate all of our IDs down here on the back end. On that note, let me do my expense GL account. In this one, I am going to put the ID in, and it's because there's a new trick that I've just been learning about, and I'm going to talk to my friend Pranav. He said there's a way I can do this to make it return the name, but instead for the moment it's going to be returning the ID. But it's going to give Stacy a really quick trick on assigning a GL account to the account payable line. This is an internal comment. It's just going to be a text field that she's going to be able to enter. And if you're going to save any record, you need to make sure you have the record ID assigned back to it as well. Like this. Notice how it changed my label to record ID. I'm going to rename this again to AP line ID, because if you just say record ID, that's clearly going to reference to you a number of different possibilities. But it's the AP line ID. And if you notice here, I've got a formula that says if B21 is blank, it's going to look at my account payable ID and the project. So I'm going to be able to very quickly assign the project and the account payable based off of the fields that we've already determined in our original save and display maps. I'm going to add these all to the save map, and I'm going to show a preloaded grid. This is going to allow us to have a number of lines that Stacy can go through and enter information in. I asked her how many lines would you ever enter in an account payable? 3, 4 max, she said. And then I looked at her history and found out, because I just want to double check, the most she's ever done is 7. So that means she says 3 or 4 max. Within a week, she's going to come to say, well, I need one more. So in the year and a half, all she's done is 7 at most. So I'm going to give her 10, just to be safe. And if you notice, it drug all of these fields down, making a full table out of it, and it also drug your formulas down. So as long as your dollar signs are in the right places, it'll drag this formula down just for you as well. And she can see, once you do all the formatting and make it nice and pretty, we can block it off and say, this is the amount of space you're going to have to work with, Stacy, and she can get it taken care of. All right, so let's save that once more. We're going to close. Now we need to start building actions. We put the maps together, but we don't have an action to say, apply the map into the application, okay? I've built a couple of them already. I did the action for the display map. I've done the action for the save AP and save PO. What I need is a save action for the map we just created, S-AP lines. This is where I'm talking about using the same naming structure, and I'm going to make sure to identify the AP lines. What I like here is if for whatever reason the validation rule or such, it's not allowing that record to be created, I'm going to check this highlight unsaved records box, and it'll return a highlighted red line for me anytime for whatever reason that doesn't work for her. Comes in really, really handy. So save. What other actions are we going to need? Well, I'm also going to want, after she's done saving everything, I want the whole thing to clear out so she can start the very next one. She can just turn the page, start keying in again. So I need a clear action. And this one, I'm just going to identify the AP line map, the save map, and say, yes, that's the one I want to clear. Oh, sorry, need to name it. Clear C-AP lines. Save. Excellent. Now, the other things we were talking about, we did search. You saw I already had in here a action for search PO. It's pretty straightforward and basic. Matter of fact, I'll show it off here briefly. Edit. You identify, first of all, the object that you want to search. You want to name it SS-PO. You identify the fields that you want Stacy to be able to search for. She's going to search for the name of the purchase order or the PO number, the project name, or even the vendor. Sometimes you don't get that much information on an invoice. Sometimes it's just a $ sign and you don't know who you're paying and what for. And then it's going to return all of these fields back in a table for her so she can say if there's multiple going to pick this one, this one, this one, or this one. I'm going to sort it though by the PO number just to make sure. Cancel. I didn't change anything here. I just wanted to create a save, search, and select. All right. She's going to be searching for the GL account. SS, GL account. I only have one object she's only searching in here is the name. And we're going to display and sort by, which is not really necessary because that's the only thing we have in here. If you, for whatever reason, and sometimes you have this in your lookup field, you have additional criteria filters, say, hey, we only wanted to bring back expense GL accounts. This is where you would add that in. Add in a secondary filter criteria that she couldn't touch, and now she can only bring in expense GL accounts. Not doing that today, but it comes in very, very handy. I'm going to save this. Thank you. So we have all of our actions now, all laid out for us, and you can see we're ready to move forward to the next step. Moving down to the right one more, we're going to build some action flows. Same naming structure, action flow is AF. This one we're going to be pulling a PO. That'd drive me crazy if I did that wrong. Apply. Now, this is the whole idea is just taking those actions that we built and just putting them in the order. So when she hits the button, I want her to, what do we say? We're going to search for a PO, SSPO, and we're going to take that information that we searched for and bring back an ID. So we're going to persist data as an output, and I'm going to call that PO ID. Apply that. We're going to add another step. She's going to search for, and then she's going to display PO. Find the action that's associated with that. Display map, we need to take that ID that we just got from our search and select and provide it as input. It automatically suggested PO ID because it's the only ID I have set up, the output that I have set up that is a purchase order record number. Let's apply that. And okay, looks good. Save. I'm going to build another action flow. This is going to be called action flow save AP. We're going to save the AP. Save Ferris. Apply. Add a step. First thing we're going to do is we're going to save the AP. It's pretty straightforward, right? What I like about this and why I broke the map, save maps up, because you could put the AP lines and the AP in the same one. You can put different objects on there. But I'm going to save the account payable first because when it does that, it returns a record ID back to that spot. And I'm using that record ID to parent all those child records below. So that's why you need to have two save maps in this scenario. Save AP. I'm going to suppress a save message because I have a lot of saves that are going on in this. There's no need to see every single save. Apply. Save AP lines. There she is. Apply. Now, what if she makes changes to that purchase order to those two fields that I identified? Save PO. That's the third save I want. Apply. And now I want to clear everything out. Right now, you'd have to clear out each individual map on its own. Although it would be nice if we could make one clear action that used all of these clear maps at the same time. Clear AP lines, apply, clear PO, apply, save, okay. All right, I've got my action flows. Now, I need to have some place where Stacy can initiate these action flows, and we're going to do that through our user menu. We're going to add a group. This is going to create little buttons on our ribbon up here on the top, okay? The default group is the default group name. I'm going to call this account payable. There's only one, but I'm still going to put an order 1 there because it's just a good habit. And then I'm going to add a button to this group. The first one's going to be called PULLPO, pull PO. This is going to be the first button in that order, and if you want, you know how you have those little question marks next to your fields in Salesforce, you can say anything you want here, and by hovering over that button, it'll give them a little information about what the button's for in case you need to remind your users how to do what they're doing. And then the icons. There's no easy way I've found anyway, unless somebody's got a list of the Microsoft Office icons. But if you have them and you can find them, you can look them up, but there's thousands of them. You got to get it exactly right. This one, I believe, is called Controls Pane. Save. If you don't put anything up there, it's just blank. It's fine, but I like having little icons there. I've got lightning bolts, smiley faces, anything that Microsoft already has. And we need to build another button. I jumped out of there too quickly. I'm sorry, no. Remove that. Add a button. Save AP. I'm going to change my action full to the Save AP. And I'm going to make this the second button. I don't need a tooltip, but I believe this one I decided was going to be congratulatory event. Case sensitive. If I wanted to, I can add a display add row if she needed to add more than 10. I'm not going to bother with that. Let's go ahead and hit save. Everything look right? I feel good about this. You guys feel good about this? I hope so. I would feel silly otherwise. All right. I'm just going over a couple more things to make sure it looks all right. I'm going to put my cursor right here and I'm going to hit save. It's going to think about it for a second. We're good to go. Now let's take a preview and see if it works for us. I love this preview button. It wasn't there in the beginning, but when you guys put it back out there, wherever my developers are, when you put that preview button there, you saved me a ton of time collectively. Oh, and my icon showed up. All right, so pull PO. I got a little screwdriver, got a little wrench. It doesn't have anything to do with the purchase order, but I thought that it looked cool. She's going to pull a purchase order, and it immediately pulls up a search and select. She can go through and search either by the purchase order number, the vendor, the project. I know that I wanted to do something from the 17- series. Excuse me. I'm searching my projects. There it is, pumps and controls. And it populated here my PO number. It populated my hyperlink. And if this wasn't in a sandbox, it would actually work. Because it's in a sandbox, it's not, because in A20, you guys know that. Never mind. Vendor name, she knows, yep, that's right. Oh, that's the project we're looking for. Here's the order total, that's right. And then the freight amount. She doesn't have a freight, but she knows that there's $12 of freight here. And she's going to say that all accounts payable are issued. So we're going to say true. She's not going to see any of this, remember. That's all hidden. I've minimized those columns so she can't see it. Now she's going to enter in her payee reference, vendor description, terms. Let's call that 5.4, and let's just leave that one blank. And there's that $12 for freight. Notice now my project populated, my internal comment, very important. Now here's the cool trick. This is what I love. I really enjoy this. Double click. Oh no. I forgot to apply it. That's why things are going so smoothly. I forgot to apply it. No worries. That's fine. All right, I'm back in my designer. You can see I'm right here. This is what I forgot to do. I'm going to go to my save map, save AP lines, edit. See these little lookout fields. I'm going to find my GL account, double click. This Excel one comes in nice. It allows you to pull down a table and reference off of that. But for the sake of speed, I'm going to just do the search and select and make sure it's active. And then I'm going to identify that ID that it goes directly back to and save. Okay. When I hit save here, you're going to notice my lookout got highlighted. So that means it works. I'm going to hit close. I'm going to hit save. I'm coming in on the wire. This is going to be perfect, guys. Let's preview that again. I'm going to say the PO doesn't really matter right now because we already showed off all of that points. I do need to put information here and here and here and here. There's that $12 we just talked about. Here we go, double click. It opens up and she can search for any GL account that she needs. I'm going to say it's raw materials for some weird reason. And it populates. This is where that ID comes in, but I'm going to figure out how to make it so it returns that name because it's going to work out much better for all of us. And now I'm going to save the AP. And we got to save, and we got a missing field missing, probably because I had to rush and I had to do that change in the last moment. But in any case, it works for me. I'd have it fixed within 5 minutes. This is a really easy application to build, and it's a little bit more than just the regular pipeline manager. You see them demonstrate. You can do nearly anything with this. I have Kanban tile manager built up for people, and I've got something for bill of materials to be added in by purchasing an inventory, and I also have, well, of course, our baby, our pride and joy that we've worked on for 2 years. We got a project builder that takes about 130 fields and pulls it in and builds a project with 180 different child records below that usually would take our biological engineers about a week to put together, and it does it all in a matter of minutes. So there's tons of things you can do with it. It's only up to your imagination. I really appreciate you guys coming to check out my application today. If you do have any questions, try to hunt me down. I'm on Twitter, I'm in the success community, and I'm the guy in the bow tie usually. All right? Thank you.